Good evening and thanks for joining us. The mystery about what made a Russian opposition leader critically ill has been solved. German authorities say they found evidence Alexei Navalny, a vocal critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin, was poisoned by the nerve agent Novichok. That's the same military-grade nerve agent used in an attack on a former Russian spy, Sergei Skripal, and his daughter in England 2 years ago. Navalny fell ill during a flight in Siberia last month. He was eventually airlifted to Berlin, where he remains in intensive care. His team says he was poisoned on the orders of President Putin. The German Chancellor Angela Merkel says the world will now look to Russia for answers. But as Redmond Shannon reports, Putin is highly skilled at avoiding them.
An announcement that has again pitted the West against Russia in a battle for the truth.
Chemischen Nervenkampfstoff der Novichok-Gruppe.
Novichok, says German Chancellor Angela Merkel, unequivocally identified as the chemical used to poison Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny. It's the same Russian-developed substance that the UK said was used to poison double agent Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia in England in 2018. They survived, but a British woman exposed to the chemical died.
Novichok is one of the more potent elements of a series that are called organophosphate nerve agents. A lethal dose, just so people can put it into perspective, is less than a grain of salt's worth.
In Berlin, Navalny remains in an induced coma. 2 weeks ago, he collapsed in agony on a plane from Siberia to Moscow. Russian hospital staff and the Kremlin maintain there's no evidence of poisoning, but Navalny's supporters insist he was targeted by President Vladimir Putin. In this video, believed to be filmed shortly before the incident, Navalny again encouraged Russians to vote tactically against Putin's United Russia Party. In the wake of the Skripal attack, Western nations expelled Russian diplomats and imposed new sanctions. But there has been little sign that Putin cares about those, or cares that Novichok is effectively a brazen calling card of the Kremlin.
And this is another message out to Navalny or any other opposition personnel that are out there to say, look, we can get you anywhere at any time.
Germany and others have hinted at new sanctions, and the EU has demanded a transparent investigation by Russia. That seems hopeful at best. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.
There are reports the U.S. Department of Homeland Security withheld an intelligence bulletin warning of a Russian plot to spread misinformation about the mental health of presidential candidates, including Joe Biden, the Democratic presidential candidate. ABC News is reporting the bulletin claims Russians were working on plans to spread allegations American presidential candidates have poor mental or physical health in order to influence the 2020 election. The Department of Homeland Security says the bulletin failed to meet agency standards and was not sent out. In this country, political insiders are planning for a potential federal election this fall. In case you forgot, the last one was just last year. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau lost his majority, and now there's a new man leading the Conservative Party who wants to make his mark. You might ask why anyone would even be thinking about another federal election so soon, especially in the midst of a pandemic. Well, our Ottawa Bureau Chief Mercedes Stevenson is here to fill us in. Mercedes, what's up, and how serious are the plans for a fall federal election?
Well, Donna, it feels like it was just yesterday, at least here in Ottawa, that we just had an election. It was 1 year and 1 week ago that it was called, but already the national capital is buzzing about it happening again. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was on a virtual tour of British Columbia today. And while it's totally normal for a prime minister to touch base in different parts of the country, the rhetoric by the Liberals recently has more of a campaign feel. Take a listen to what the prime minister told Global BC this afternoon about his plans for the fall.
That's why we're putting together a throne speech now that will set out this ambitious agenda before Parliament, and parliamentarians can decide, because we're in a minority situation, whether this government has the support to move forward on this new agenda that, quite frankly, nobody ran an election on a year ago because we didn't know about COVID.
So, Donna, right there you have the Prime Minister really putting the ball in the opposition's court, saying that they're going to put it to these parties to decide. But there is a big political calculus that everyone has to be thinking about, and it's not just what's in that throne speech. It's, do Canadians actually want an election? Or is there a risk that they will punish the party who pulls the plug in the middle of a pandemic? It's something that all of the parties are watching very closely, and they're conducting polls on. But I can tell you that sources in the Liberals, Conservatives, and NDP say that they are already planning campaign logistics and will be ready to go if there is a snap election this fall. For the Liberals, the advantage of an election now is a mandate to spend significant amounts of money on social programs in that throne speech. And you heard the Prime Minister making reference to that. There's also a chance to plunge onto the hustings before the Conservative leader has a chance to really establish his brand, and frankly, a chance for the Liberals to eat the NDP's lunch when it comes to policy. The desire to get ahead of a potential looming recession could be another factor. Most political insiders think that a spring election is more likely at this point, but Donna, sometimes speculation like this generates its own kind of pressure.
All right, Mercedes Stevenson in Ottawa, thanks.